Tamar Braxton is shaking. Has anybody went to go check on Tamar Braxton? They're saying that she got attacked randomly in the middle of the night and woke up in a pool of blood.
Felt like when she had invited
She set me up. She set me up.
So I said,
just to do a rollout for her show she had going on.
Tamar Braxton has officially lost her mind, her patience, and apparently her front row seat to peace. Because sis just woke up and chose Chrisean rock slander for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a midnight snack. And when I tell you Tamar is dragging Chrisean like she's auditioning for Bad Girls Club, grown auntie edition, oh baby. This makes the Kardashians look like a church picnic. Because according to Tamar, who is now shaking like she just decoded Beyoncé's tax returns, she didn't just get attacked, embarrassed, or blindsided. No, Mama claims she was set up, betrayed, thrown to the wolves, left in a pool of blood like she's starring in a Tyler Perry detective movie nobody asked for. And guess who she says is behind the chaos? Yup, Miss Fist of Fury herself, Chrisean Rock, the human plot twist. The Baltimore earthquake in a blue wig. Tamar claims everything from the backstage blow-up in 2023 to her mysterious 2024 injury connects back to Chrisean's rage, ego, and talent for turning peaceful environments into WWE pay-per-views. And baby. Tamar is done whispering. She's naming names, dropping details, and calling out every lie Chrisean ever told. Buckle up, this scandal just resurrected itself, and it's even uglier now. Tamar Braxton did not just wake up and choose violence. She woke up and chose a full-blown documentary-level expose on Chrisean Rock, complete with tears, trembling lips, and accusations that sound like they were ripped straight out of a Zeus Network scriptwriter's fever dream. And the funniest part, Tamar swears up and down none of this was supposed to happen. According to her, she was just trying to be a kind, supportive big sister from Baltimore. But somehow that turned into chaos, cracked teeth, crying grown men, and Tamar needing a spiritual helmet to survive the night. Everything goes back to 2023. A year Tamar probably wants erased from her memory like a corrupted hard drive. She was on her Love and War 10th anniversary tour, feeling nostalgic, emotional, and in her diva bag. When she got to Los Angeles, she invited Chrisean backstage as a cute little gesture. A friendly hello. A welcome home moment. Tamar thought she was doing a good deed. Chrisean thought she was getting booked to headline the Super Bowl halftime show. This right here is where the entire mess began. Tamar insists Chrisean was never supposed to perform. Not a verse. Not a hook. Not a warm-up. Not a hum, nothing. It was a simple invite, not a job offer. But Chrisean walked in like she was about to shut down Madison Square Garden with a surprise world tour announcement. And Tamar is begging people online to remember that detail. Because apparently Chrisean forgot immediately. She came backstage with full performer energy, mic in hand, ego in orbit, ready to rock the building like she was the opening, closing, and encore act all in one. While Tamar was moments away from going on stage, trying to hold a peaceful pre-show prayer circle with Toni Braxton and the team, Chrisean stormed in hotter than a malfunctioning fire alarm. She was furious because she wasn't allowed to perform, and according to witnesses, she disrupted the entire prayer like a spiritual wrecking ball. Imagine Toni Braxton trying to say in Jesus' name while Chrisean is flipping out in the corner like it's an episode of Love and Hip Hop with no cameras. And just when Tamar thought it couldn't get worse, Chrisean saw James Wright Chanel standing nearby, minding his business, smiling like he always does, and for some reason decided he was the chosen one. She allegedly lunged, swung, and attacked him so viciously that his teeth practically filed for early retirement. James went from gospel singing joy machine to emergency room patient in seconds. He was left chipped, bleeding, and traumatized, looking like he had just gone through 12 rounds with Floyd Mayweather while blindfolded. Tamar admitted the attack happened, and honestly, the internet still can't process it. Nobody knows why James was chosen as the sacrifice of the night. But Chrisean clearly had her own interpretation of the invitation. Leroy, Tamar's friend, was the first one to jump into the online mess like he was auditioning for Keyboard Warriors Celebrity Edition. He went ballistic on his IG, dragging Chrisean across every digital sidewalk he could find. He called her a disgusting ghetto girl and said she came to the show drunk, high, and smelling like she had been rolled in a field of herbs. He even said she was acting like a dungeon dragon, which might be the most accurate description of Chrisean on a bad day ever recorded. Leroy wasn't done either. He promised to snatch every coin she had and said she was going to jail. The man was vibrating with rage. You could practically hear his blood pressure rising through the phone screen. He accused her of being a menace, an intruder, and a walking lawsuit all in one. Chrisean eventually responded, and she denied every accusation with the same confidence she uses to deny being at fault in every situation she's ever caused. She said Tamar and her team were using her for clout and trying to embarrass her for promo. She basically claimed the whole night was a setup, an ambush, a plot twist meant to make her feel small. She said she was invited, handed a mic, expected to perform, and then humiliated when her music didn't play. In her words, she thought they set her up purposely to make her feel less than, especially because Tamar is older. The way she described it, you'd think Tamar was running a secret underground fight club backstage, not a concert. James, who initially stayed quiet, eventually snapped like a glow stick in the dark. He got online and exposed the reality of what happened. He confirmed that Chrisean hit him multiple times, that the damage was real, and that his teeth had to be entirely replaced. He said he was tired of being quiet while the internet debated whether he got hit, slipped, or swallowed a bowling ball. Then Tamar finally chimed in. She tried to take the high road, or at least the mildly elevated sidewalk, by saying she invited Chrisean out of pure kindness. They're both from Baltimore. She felt sisterly energy, and she thought Chrisean needed support after dealing with Blueface not claiming the baby and airing out private photos. Tamar even teared up and said she wished Chrisean had hit her instead of James, which might be one of the most unhinged sentences the internet has ever heard. But the internet did not buy Tamar's tears for a second. Commenters dragged her for even entertaining Chrisean in the first place. They said Tamar should have known better, that she brought chaos to her own front door, and that her apology video made her look like she was straddling the fence like a confused gymnastic referee, just when everyone thought the drama was cooling off. Chrisean reignited it during an interview with Cam Newton. She insisted again it was a setup and explained that she only fought James because he allegedly got in her face and spit while talking. She claimed she told him to back up, warned him, and only handled him after he didn't listen. Her side of the story sounded like a superhero origin story written by someone who only reads the headlines. And then came the lawsuit. James sued Chrisean for the attack, and his lawyer confirmed she hit him multiple times while wearing rings that acted like brass knuckles. They were shocked she was even allowed to leave the building that night. The case is still in court, and the internet watches it like it's a weekly installment of a legal reality show. But the real plot twist is Tamar's recent mysterious injury. She posted that she woke up in a pool of blood, fractured her nose, lost teeth, and couldn't move her face. She didn't explain how it happened. She didn't file a police report. She didn't name a culprit. The internet, however, did not hesitate to speculate like unpaid detectives with nothing to lose. Some accused Chrisean immediately. Others blamed Yandy. Some thought Tamar passed out mid-prayer and fell like a collapsing Christmas tree. But many believe this was round 2 of her Chrisean rock saga. Whether true or not, the internet decided it was Chrisean's fault because, well, when drama happens, she's always somewhere nearby like a chaos magnet with unlimited range. And that's exactly where the story explodes from here, because Tamar is no longer staying quiet. She is dragging Chrisean by the lace front, by the storyline, and by every lie she thinks was ever told about her, the betrayal, the secrets, the twisted narratives. Tamar is spilling every drop. And nothing about this mess is pretty. What happened next wasn't just drama. It was a cultural event. It was the kind of chaos that makes Twitter forget world news and focus on 2 women who could single-handedly fuel every reality TV plot for the next decade. Because once Tamar's injury went viral, the internet didn't just react, it detonated. People were dropping theories faster than Chrisean drops phones in swimming pools. Every celebrity blog, every shady commentator, every meme page with a cracked iPhone 7 jumped into the mix. They dissected Tamar's post like forensic experts trying to solve a crime scene with zero evidence and maximum confidence. Suddenly, Tamar's face injury wasn't just a fall, it was a conspiracy, a mystery, a puzzle box wrapped in confusion and dipped in chaos. People were absolutely certain Chrisean had something to do with it. They didn't need proof. They had vibes, and vibes were enough. Tamar's swollen face became the internet's new favorite topic. Her missing teeth were trending. Her broken nose sparked think pieces. Memes popped up comparing her to cartoon characters who fell down staircases with sound effects. The internet is cruel, but it is consistent. Celebrities even started chiming in. Some defended Tamar, saying she had been too kind for too long and Chrisean should have never been let backstage in the first place. Others defended Chrisean, claiming Tamar was exaggerating or chasing a storyline like she was auditioning for Braxton Family Values. Extreme edition. Everyone had opinions. Nobody had facts. But that never stopped the internet. The wildest part. Chrisean seemed completely unfazed. While everyone else argued like unpaid publicists, she was online posting selfies, dancing at random events, laughing like she doesn't have a list of ongoing lawsuits long enough to be submitted as a novel. She didn't address Tamar's injury. She didn't flinch. She didn't blink. She carried on like someone who has never felt the need to clarify anything in her life. That silence made the conspiracy even bigger. People started crafting theories more elaborate than Marvel fanfiction. Some insisted Tamar was covering for Chrisean to protect her reputation. Others said Tamar fell during a sleepwalking episode, but didn't want to admit it because she'd get dragged harder than a broken wig. A few even claimed Tamar Braxton knew the truth and was keeping quiet to protect the family brand. No matter the angle. Everyone agreed on one thing. The 2023 backstage fight had not been fully exposed. Tamar's sudden decision to reopen the wound, retell the story, and drag Chrisean for allegedly lying added gasoline to a fire that was already burning at Zeus network temperature. Tamar's emotional voice cracks. Her shaky tone, her dramatic storytelling, people were eating it up like it was an exclusive Wendy Williams Hot Topics revival. She wasn't just telling a story. She was painting a portrait of betrayal in HD. She said she extended love. She said she gave sisterhood. She said she tried to be kind to someone who was fresh out of the chaos with Blueface. But instead of gratitude, Tamar says she got aggression, disrespect, and a whole grown man's teeth knocked out in the process. And when the internet replayed those moments, they didn't see a peacemaker. They saw someone trying to hold back a hurricane with a prayer circle and a microphone. As the story blew up again, memes flooded the timeline. One meme showed Tamar holding an ice pack with the caption, "Baltimore bonding gone wrong." Another compared Chrisean to the Hulk, saying James Wright's teeth never stood a chance. Someone else edited Tamar's dramatic injury message into a horror movie trailer with eerie piano music and slow zooms. The internet has no chill. But then came the celebrity commentators, the ones who live for moments like this. They began analyzing Chrisean's interview with Cam Newton like it was a leaked FBI file. Chrisean talked about being handed a mic, expecting her music to play, feeling embarrassed, feeling attacked, and feeling like Tamar wanted to set her up, the way she described it. She wasn't violent, she was provoked. She wasn't chaotic, she was protecting herself. She wasn't unhinged as she was reacting. People didn't know whether to laugh, agree, or send her to therapy. The narrative kept twisting like a pretzel at a carnival. Then came the revelation that James had to get all his teeth replaced. All of them. Not a couple. Not a crown. A brand new mouth. The internet couldn't process it. The jokes were brutal. Someone tweeted Chrisean didn't give him dental damage. She gave him a whole new identity. Another wrote, "He walked in smiling like Patti LaBelle's best friend and left like a Mortal Kombat extra." It was vicious. Then James' lawyer's statement resurfaced. that she hit him with rings equivalent to brass knuckles, that she struck him multiple times, that they were shocked she wasn't arrested right then and there. That made everything feel heavier. Suddenly, the memes cracked into seriousness for a moment. People questioned why Chrisean gets away with everything like she has an unlimited protection spell over her life. But then Tamar's injury dragged everyone back into the circus. People wondered if she was too afraid to blame Chrisean directly. They speculated she didn't want smoke from Blueface, Blueface's mother, or the army of Chrisean fans who treat her like a spiritual leader. Tamar's silence about the details only increased the suspicion. She didn't confirm anything. She didn't deny anything. She just dropped the wounds and left. Vlogs began calling it round two. They started labeling Tamar and Chrisean as the messiest feud in modern pop culture. Someone compared them to the MCU, but with more injuries and fewer contracts. Another said their drama is what happens when Zeus Network energy meets Braxton family values immunity. Meanwhile, Tamar's fans were furious. They said she gave Chrisean grace, opportunity, sisterhood, and compassion. They said Tamar tried to help a younger woman going through public humiliation. They said Tamar didn't deserve to get dragged, disrespected, and potentially harmed in return. They said this wasn't sisterhood, it was sabotage. Chrisean's fans fired back. They argued Tamar is a dramatic queen who loves attention and plays victim like it's her side job. They said Tamar knew exactly what she was doing inviting Chrisean backstage. They said Tamar uses tears the way influencers use Facetin liberally and with maximum effect. The debates were endless. Every new post pushed the story higher on trending lists. Every detail, real or imagined, became fuel. This was no longer a backstage fight. It was a cultural phenomenon, a digital civil war. Team Tamar versus Team Chrisean had officially become the Super Bowl of messy entertainment. And just when people thought the drama couldn't get more catastrophic, Tamar began hinting subtly, emotionally, and dramatically that Chrisean may have been connected to her mysterious injury. She didn't say it directly. She didn't accuse her by name. But the implication hovered like a storm cloud, ready to burst at any moment. Her words were emotional. Her tone was drained. Her message felt like a confession wrapped in confusion and dipped in pain. The internet read between every line, every syllable, every exhale. And the consensus was simple. Tamar wanted the world to know someone hurt her, but she didn't want to say who. That silence was louder than any accusation. And that silence is exactly what made Chrisean look guiltier in the public eye. Not because she was confirmed guilty, but because silence leaves room for speculation. And speculation on the internet grows like mold in a dark basement. Quick, messy, and unstoppable. This feud had escalated from backstage chaos to spiritual warfare. From chipped teeth to fractured faces. From prayer circles to emergency rooms. And it was nowhere near finished. The world wasn't watching anymore. The world was obsessed. What came next would change both of their reputations permanently. By the time the dust settled, both Tamar Braxton and Chrisean Rock had become walking cautionary tales about what happens when ego, emotion, and unresolved chaos collide headfirst. Their reputations weren't just bruised. They were rearranged like furniture in a house hit by a tornado. And the world wanted to know who was really responsible for the wreckage. For Tamar, the aftermath was a mix of sympathy and side-eye. People felt bad for her injury, her tears, her heartbreak, her fractured nose, and her missing teeth. But they also whispered that she had created her own monster by inviting Chrisean into her safe space. Social media was divided between Tamar is too kind for this world and sis. Why would you invite a whole hurricane backstage? Either way, the damage was done. Chrisean didn't just walk away from the situation. She sprinted like chaos had been chasing her for years. She kept posting, performing, smiling, and acting like Tamar's face hadn't become an internet crime scene overnight. Her ability to continue life unbothered only intensified the fury around her. People said she was dodging accountability. Others said she was protecting herself from a narrative she didn't trust. Meanwhile, the lawsuit from James Wright Chanel sat in the background like a ticking time bomb. His lawyers weren't just prepared, they were sharpening their pencils, adjusting their ties, and preparing to collect a payout so large it might need its own zip code. James was ready for justice. And this time, there were no cameras, no prayer circles, no backstage meltdowns. Just lawyers, documents, and the quiet rage of a man who had to buy a whole new smile. What made everything worse was Tamar's injury timeline. She didn't explain the truth. She didn't clear any names. She didn't say what happened. The speculation turned into suspicion, and the suspicion turned into a digital witch hunt. The internet decided that the universe was too messy for coincidences. If Tamar was hurt after a year of Chrisean-related trauma, the math simply wasn't mathing. Tamar single quotes as silence was interpreted as fear, embarrassment, or emotional exhaustion. Some believed she didn't want to accuse Chrisean because the backlash would be nuclear. Others thought Tamar wanted to avoid becoming a meme again. Or maybe she didn't know what happened and couldn't risk getting laughed at for falling down a stairwell in her sleep. The possibilities were endless, and the uncertainty was brutal. Chrisean supporters claimed Tamar was manipulating public sympathy. They said Tamar used emotional monologues to rewrite the storyline. They said she loved playing the misunderstood victim. They said she was using all drama to generate fresh attention. They even said she was trying to compete with younger artists by attaching herself to high-impact scandals. On the opposite side, Tamar's fans argued that Chrisean had a long history of impulsive, violent behavior, and Tamar simply became another casualty of her unpredictability. They said Chrisean never takes responsibility. They said she thrives in chaos and melts down whenever she feels threatened or challenged. They said Tamar was foolish for giving her grace, but that didn't mean she deserved a hospital storyline. This wasn't a simple feud. It became a cultural divide, a generational clash. Older fans defending their R&B queen. Younger fans defending their rebellious thunderstorm of a celebrity. Every platform had debates, edits, clips, opinions, theories, and arguments that lasted for days. Through all this, one thing became painfully clear. Chrisean Rock and Tamar Braxton had reached a point of no return. The backstage invite destroyed trust. The fight destroyed friendships. The injury destroyed peace. No PR team on earth could fix this. Not even Kris Jenner could spin this into a redemption arc. Tamar's career took a sharp turn. She started appearing more vulnerable online, posting cryptic messages, reflecting on life, and hinting at betrayal without naming names. Fans began calling her the Walmart Oprah because she kept giving emotional monologues that sounded like self-help seminars sponsored by Chaos. People were sympathetic, but also exhausted. They didn't know whether to hug her or mute her notifications. Chrisean's trajectory was a different kind of storm. With every accusation, she gained more attention. With every controversy, she gathered more fans who saw her as real, raw, and fearless. She became a symbol of unpredictability. A celebrity who could go from loving mother to human sledgehammer in 10 seconds flat. And the world watched because the world loves a disaster they don't personally have to clean up. But the biggest shift was how other celebrities began reacting. Behind closed doors, people in the industry started distancing themselves from both of them. Tamar became the cautionary tale of don't invite messy energy. Backstage, Chrisean became the warning label for do not hand this girl a microphone unless you're also handing her a therapist. Public perception twisted into something neither of them could fully control. Tamar was pitied but ridiculed. Chrisean was adored but feared. Their names became trending topics at the slightest hint of drama. Everything they did was now filtered through the lens of their feud, their trauma, and their wild stories. And yet, Tamar wasn't done talking. Her recent comments, her trembling voice, and her retelling of the 2023 incident weren't random. They were deliberate. They were a response to Chrisean's interview with Cam Newton, where Chrisean painted herself as the misunderstood underdog who got set up by an older woman in the industry. Tamar couldn't let that narrative stand. She wasn't about to be framed as the villain in her own dressing room. Her new wave of dragging wasn't accidental. It was a statement. Tamar wanted the world to remember what really happened in 2023. She wanted them to understand she wasn't clout chasing. She wanted them to see Chrisean as the aggressor. And she wanted her side of the story to stick before the lawsuit revealed too much. The internet didn't know whose truth to accept. Tamar's emotional confessions, Chrisean's defensive rants, James' dental trauma, Lori's verbal meltdown. There were too many versions, too many perspectives, too many contradictions. Every retelling added another layer of confusion and comedy. But the real consequence, the part that will linger long after the memes, is that neither Tamar nor Chrisean will ever be viewed the same again. Their reputations shifted. Their friendships fractured. Their narratives became permanently intertwined like a toxic reality TV duo that refuses to leave the stage. Tamar now walks through the industry with caution, avoiding drama like it's contagious. She's quieter, softer, more selective about who she invites into her personal space. Every time she smiles, people wonder if her new teeth are from her fall or from old trauma. She became a symbol of vulnerability and volatility mixed into one dramatic cocktail. Chrisean's reputation hardened. She became the lightning strike of the entertainment world. People expect chaos when she walks into a room. They expect conflict, shouting, and unexpected punches. She's magnetic because she's unpredictable. She's terrifying because she's unapologetic. She's iconic because she refuses to follow the script, and even with Tamar dragging her, even with James suing her, even with the internet labeling her dangerous, Chrisean moves through life like she is a storm and everyone else is the umbrella that won't open. The feud between them transformed into something bigger than a backstage fight. It became a legend, a cautionary tale, a pop culture earthquake that sent aftershocks through music, social media, and modern chaos. And the craziest part, everyone knows this isn't the end. Tamar hasn't said everything. Chrisean hasn't admitted anything. James hasn't collected anything. The story isn't finished. It's just waiting for the next explosion. And when it hits, the internet will be right there. Front row popcorn ready, timelines refreshed, waiting for the next chapter of the messiest feud either woman has ever survived. And that, my beautiful chaos-consuming detectives, is where we're leaving today's disaster. Tamar Braxton is somewhere icing her face and journaling about betrayal. Chrisean Rock is probably punching air, dancing on TikTok, or denying everything with the confidence of someone who's never heard the word accountability. James Wright is still out here smiling with a brand new set of teeth. And the rest of us, we're sitting front row, watching the mess unfold like it's the Super Bowl of bad decisions. But listen, you already know this is not the last chapter. These to stay in drama the way Zeus Network stays in lawsuits. At any moment, another leak could drop. Another interview could go viral. Another tooth could go missing. So if you even think about clicking off without subscribing, you're basically choosing to live life uninformed. Why would you do that to yourself? Hit that subscribe button like you're knocking out backstage security. Smash that like button like it owes you child support. Ring the notification bell the same way Chrisean rings people's jaws, aggressively and without hesitation. And drop a comment telling me whose side you're on, because I already know you are ready to argue in the comments like you're auditioning for a reunion special. Tell me, is Tamar the victim? Is Chrisean the villain? Or are they both the queens of chaos running an unscripted soap opera? I want to hear your theories, conspiracies, predictions, and unhinged analysis. Nothing is too wild on this channel. This is Scandal Spark, baby. We don't do peace. We do plot twists. Stay tuned, stay messy, and stay ready, because the next celebrity meltdown is already loading. Scandal Spark, where the drama never sleeps. Where the drama never sleeps.